I think this week we had some of the biggest changes we've seen in a long time. A card got completely nuked in Mobius. We're going to be talking about some monetization versus balance changes because of that. With that, the balance patch, Werewolf came out, maybe one of the strongest cards we've seen in a while, and Miss Marvel next week, and some more. So this is us back with the Dekkster and Dera podcast. How you doing, Dekkster?
Dude, I'm doing good. I am excited because of all the recent changes, and I haven't played in a day, so I missed out. But I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I have been playing. I played a lot. I did a super long stream for the balance patch and Werewolf, just wanted to test everything out, and it was one of those things that so much happened that I just couldn't stop playing. I was trying out a bunch of new stuff. There was so much that changed with just like three main, I think four, actually five cards actually changed that were like pretty massive changes. So I think that opened a lot of space, especially since the main card that changed was Mobius. Mobius really significantly impacted the meta because of its implication with all cards that reduced cards were completely nuked pretty much whenever someone had Mobius on the board. And now they changed Mobius so much that it's almost unplayable, I would say, currently. So everything's back.
Really?
Have you? Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Since you haven't played with Mobius, new Mobius yet, like I guess I had to cut it from all my lists pretty much because it's just, if you don't know, the new Mobius, it is a on reveal now. So now every single time you play it, it's only for one turn. It's not like a permanent ability, so you can only do it once and then it's done. So unless you time it perfectly, you're not really going to be getting that value. So
It's only for the
I don't know
following turn
what.
then. So you played on 5,
Yep.
so they can't play their swarms on 6 or something. Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
bad.
like, or the death can't come out on 6, but it's like against Loki. That's a hard sell, I feel like, because Loki, I think, is the thing that really took a big hit from Mobius the most.
Yeah, I think they should change the card, make it cheaper, maybe. I don't know. Like, I
Make it cheaper.
mean, cheaper energy.
Mobius, like
Yeah.
with keeping the on reveal, you want it to stay
Uh,
with just an on reveal once a turn.
No, not necessarily, but I think if they're gonna make it on reveal, they need to adjust for that in some other way. It's still a 2/3, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
changed nothing except for it to be an on reveal.
yeah, that's a huge nerf. Yeah, I think I don't know if it was like a 1/2 on reveal, that'd be better than a
Yeah,
2/3. Seems awful right now.
yeah, it's pretty bad. I think it has its space against certain cards like Death and Swarms, like you said, but against something like Loki, where there's like two turns at least, turns 5 and 6 that you need to like have the discount applied to, it's really hard to time it properly. I had one person play Mobius against me, and it really shut me off because I was playing Loki, and I happened to Loki on turn 5, and then they played it on turn 5, and it really, like, it was a surprise, but it's like that would just not be the case if I were to play Loki on 4. Like, so it's just really hard to time properly now, and it's not as useful during the entire game because a lot of times you could have it for like Elysium came out, or the location that made everything cost +1 on turn 5. Like, there's so many things that it could be used for, and now it's just like very, very particular, and I would just cut it from most lists. So it brings that back
So it's,
to the old meta.
yeah, I was gonna say you're making it sound like it's just gonna be Loki decks now that are stomping,
Oh,
that
for
are at the
sure.
top, and even with all the other changes, it doesn't really matter. It's just that Loki's back.
Loki is back, and Loki was still the best, I think, before this Mobius change, but now it's going to be completely dominant. And that begs the question of, uh, was Mobius worth buying in the first place? A lot of people, I think, invested a lot of resources into Mobius because they were like, oh, Mobius is going to be a must have in this meta. And it just creates so much like power swing in the sense that people can't play certain cards if you have Mobius out there. So they spent all their spotlight caches or their tokens on it, and now the card is unplayable. What do you think about that?
I think that really sucks, especially with like the no refunds policy. That's bad. It's really bad because I think I was also recommending like, oh yeah, Mobius is kind of worth it. You know, he's used in most decks, kind of like how Jeff is. Or I guess I also recommend like Iron Lad, maybe Legion, maybe. But the fact that they completely changed how the card works is it's kind of sad. And I think I actually read something on Twitter where they were saying they knew the card would be a bit overtuned. Did you have that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they knew it's going to be a bit overtuned, and they were planning on adjusting it eventually, which is really bad because people were going to buy it not thinking they're going to change it, that the card's good, and then they intentionally change it and nerf it and make everyone's purchase kind of invalidated. So,
Yeah, it seems like that seems to be the trend going forward, is to make the cards a little bit stronger so they see some play, and then they bring them down a little bit after the fact. And that's been the case with almost every strong card that's come out. Like Loki, very strong on release. I guess it did take them a little bit longer to nerf Loki itself, but they nerfed some cards around Loki, like Collector and some other things. And then same thing with Elsa. Elsa on release, huge +3 bonus, and now it's +2. And now with Mobius as well, getting hit the hardest out of all of them, I'd say, because I'd say Loki and Elsa are still very strong cards after their nerfs, whereas Mobius pretty much got deleted. And Glenn had said a couple things here, that they were thinking about different ways that they would want to weaken him. But they did also say that they think this change to Mobius was a bit harsh, and they think that they might walk it back a little, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't really like this business practice of new thing comes out, we intentionally make it OP so you buy it, and then we nerf it. I think that's the thing that like Riot's done a lot, at least back when I played League. The new character would come out, they'd always be OP, everyone would buy it, and then they'd adjust it properly. So it's like they're trying to pad their wallets, which, you know, is what they need to do as a business or whatever, I guess. But it sucks. It's annoying.
Yeah, I think I have a slightly different take on like I would prefer them to have actually this kind of like have it be slightly too strong rather than it be too weak. Like obviously it'd be great if it came in just balanced and like it felt like playable but not oppressive. But at the same time, I'd rather be slightly too strong than too weak and unplayable. And I think the problem there is that tension between monetization versus balance. I kind of like monetization being kind of separated from a balance perspective, in the sense that I think when new cards come out, I'd rather them be a little bit stronger because it makes the game more interesting and the meta constantly evolving. Where if you were to have a card release and it be unplayable, nothing changes and it's like nothing came out. So I kind of like how they would have a new card come out, have it be a little bit strong for a little bit, then tweak it down, and it creates this like influx of different metas. But it does cause that problem of where do I choose to invest my money when the game is so expensive? Because you're like, I only can pick and choose a certain number of cards, and if I want to pick the strong ones, they're not always going to stay strong, and new cards come out and they're not going to be playable sometimes, so you skip those ones, and then they get buffed in the future, and they're like, oh, I skipped those, and I bought the strong ones that got nerfed to oblivion. So there's just like this kind of tension between monetization and balance. I think Glenn kind of spoke on it a little bit in one of these things where they say they're on track, that they've demonstrated that they're on track for their balance changes, that they aren't afraid to swing twice on cards. So if they overbalance something like Mobius, it'll come back. And then also he said that they are willing to make sure that if something disappears, they will prioritize making cards playable again. So their goal with Mobius wasn't to make it unplayable. It was to bring it down, and they missed the mark on it. But in general, when it comes to economy, their goal is not to ever make it feel like you invested in a card and then nerf it to oblivion. So they're going to bring it back. I think Mobius is one of those cards that they'll bring back. And other cards that I think people bought and they weren't strong enough, they want to buff them in the future. So they've shown that with like Lady Deathstrike and some other cards that like when they came out were a little bit too weak. Most recently, Ravonna Renslayer, card that kind of fell completely off the map after its release. They just did a big buff to it. And I tried it out. I still think it might be a little weak even in its current form, but we'll have to see with what people come up with. I don't
Yeah.
know. With all that, what do you think about? I know you just said it kind of sucks, and you don't like the them over buffing or over. I don't know, having overtuned cards come out of release.
No, I mean, I think I like them being really good, useful cards that people want to play in most of their decks. Like being very prominent, I guess, within the meta. I do like that, but I think it's just the way they went about Mobius. Yeah, I guess they missed the mark. It was a little too much. It seems like a big miss though. I don't know, like switching to on reveal, it only affects one turn. How did they not expect it to go this way? Um, so I would like cards to be good when they come out because you cannot really have a dud card when you're releasing one card a week because then it's just painful. The meta is just the same thing for a little bit too long, in my opinion. So having it being really good and then addressing it back a little bit, I think is fine. They just went a little bit too far with Mobius here, like upping his energy cost or something like that. Why didn't they try that first? And then they could have been like, oh, this was not enough. Like let's take it a step further. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they had talked about it. I don't know if I have the. He did talk about the energy cost, and he said at the time we were composing patch, a cost change didn't seem like it would suffice to reduce the pressure on Series 3 card reduction strategies. So he specifically had stated that it looked like if they had upped the energy cost, that the Series 3 cost reduction strategy. So they're trying to look out for people who have mostly Series 3 cards and below. They were thinking, hey, this might be too much still. Like Mobius might be strangling that meta a little bit too much. So they really wanted to bring it back down. And that might just be like what cards, I guess, Series 3 cost reduction strategies would they be worrying about? Do you
like Swarm, maybe?
Swarm, Death.
Swarm and Death. I feel like that's
She-Hulk.
probably She-Hulk. Yeah, I guess Shuri.
It seemed like She-Hulk was a big thing because he did say, I don't think I have it pulled up, but he did do a little teaser on here that said that She-Hulk is something that has some future stuff planned. Actually, maybe I did have it. They did say, because there's new cards that are coming out, or they said that they, here it is. So when they're doing some, they're talking about planning balance changes around content releases. They pretty much they do keep track of when variants are coming out and when MCU things are happening when they're planning buffs, but they did say that when they do nerfs, that's pretty much only based on balance.
Yeah.
But it did sound like this nerf to Mobius, it seemed a little bit like that strangled the meta, that they couldn't buff certain things like She-Hulk. So maybe that's not entirely the case.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I think this ultimately comes down to the fact that when they're doing a patch, they have to push it through way in advance. OTAs, they can only address, energy and cost, but they probably put the Mobius change in a while ago when he was seeming very oppressive. I don't know, like a month ago, maybe. So they had to try and predict the future, I think, by pushing all these changes through. Then they finally hit a month later, and the meta has adapted quite a bit. It's changed quite a bit. So I think if they could just put patches through whenever they want, that might be able to, we wouldn't see this issue. But because that's not a thing, we get situations like this. But yeah, OTAs can't actually change what the card does. It could just change the energy or power. I know you know that. I'm just saying for the viewer. So it's like the Mobius switching from a ongoing to an on reveal has to be pushed through a normal patch, which they have to send to, I don't know, the app store or whatever, and then they have to approve it. It goes through a process. So I think that's probably what it is. Oh.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That is one of the things that they talked about. Again, Glenn has responded to a couple things that I read. And he said that they specifically were working on expanding some of their OTA capabilities to hope that they could do some bigger changes like that. So someone had asked if they could do something like revert Mobius back to its old ability via an OTA, so they don't have to wait a whole month to maybe revert it back. and Glenn had responded saying they hope to expand the OTA capabilities there, and that was like a big thing.
That's huge.
That I think would be cool if they could do more things like that, like keep a history of the cards in the game files itself, so that it could just be an on-off switch for some of those things. But also, you're right. He also, I didn't have it pulled up, I don't think, but he had spoken about how Future Balance, they do have to do regular patches about a month in advance, whereas OTAs they do about a week in advance. So Mobius might see a change in a upcoming OTA just in the meantime before they can do another balance patch. So that's something that they could do if they're seeing it. They did. I think they did talk about it when they were talking about Loki, and I don't know if I have it pulled up, but he also spoke about if Loki is too strong, they might hit him with the nerf, because it's might be too strong after the Mobius nerf again, even with the Loki getting nerfed to 4 cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think all in all, they do pretty well with balance. But yeah, it's really hard to predict one month in advance. 'Cause the meta changes so much. Every week a new card comes out, and it generally they try and shake things up. So yeah, I can understand how they miss. It still sucks. It hurts.
Yeah, I really enjoy them doing such frequent changes. I think that makes the really healthy meta. It doesn't ever feel too stale, unless they do, like 2 weeks ago they had like an almost nothing OTA, and that kind of made it stale for a little bit. But it's just like, that's us being a little bit spoiled with how often it's changing and how good it feels when they do these big changes. I kind of like these big changes, but this latest change did feel a little bit like it was reverting to an older meta rather than creating a new meta. But there were a couple changes. Do you want to go over? Let's go over what changed in this latest patch real quick. Mobius being the big one we just talked about, just going to an on reveal. But there was also like Ravonna, which is opening up maybe some Ravonna strategies now that Mobius is killed. Ravonna being a 2/1 and being a cost reduction card. Maybe something can come out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I tried playing Ravonna in the past with what Iron Man sort of stuff. I think I might have been playing Iron Man Mystique Cerebro Bast things because she had 3 power, which maybe she still fits in that deck and you just hit her with Bast, but maybe a C3 card that could be fun.
Well, it's a 2/1 now.
Yeah. So playing it on 2, I guess you don't really care.
C3, okay.
I think playing
in
C3
with Bast, you could do it.
Just because it's cheaper to get out. Like on turn 2, you could play it. On turn 3, you could play, I don't know, whatever you want. But yeah, if you do hit it with Bast, it's a 2/3 that discounts. Actually, no, I'm stupid, because if you Bast your cards, it's useless.
Yeah, I was going to say, with Bast, it doesn't actually work. So that was what I ran into that problem a couple times. Like, most Ravonna decks want Bast in it. So you run into that tension of, do I want Ravonna or Bast? Like, having both is kind of weird and it doesn't actually work that well.
That's right.
I feel like it shouldn't work that way, but
it shouldn't. I remember I ran into this problem when I was testing her. I'm like, this is a dumb interaction that you can't actually have your cards discounted. But yeah, okay, scrap that. That's not going to work. But I guess maybe just trying her in some sort of Iron Man deck is all I can really think of.
Yeah, it's Iron Man, and then I think some sort of clog decks could also work, because the goblins plus Black Widow both get reduced.
You were playing a Ravonna Goblin deck for a while, and you were saying it was pretty good. So maybe it's better now?
Yeah, I think it might be. I didn't try it yesterday. I tried a bunch of different decks. I tried some like on reveal decks and some other decks, but I didn't get around to playing the Goblin deck I wanted to try. So I'll maybe try it out, see if it's a little bit better, but it seems like it could be good, because I think that might be one of the few decks that Ravonna might shine in a bit better now.
Yeah.
Because one of the big problems I saw with Ravonna is that the reduction didn't seem to matter that much, because a lot of times I was playing like a 5 cost on turn 5 for 4, and it's just like I just had a floating energy. It just like didn't really do anything a lot of times. So it needs to have some sort of reason why I'm discounting the cards, because like other cards like Sarah and Zabu allow me to do like 2/3 costs on, or 2/4 costs on turn 6, or like Sarah's like 3 costs on turn 6. It's just like Ravonna doesn't have that like synergy other than like Iron Man Mystique on turn 6, which you could also do with Sarah. Like it's not really like it doesn't really seem to have that spot that you want it in, I think, currently.
They should make Ronin 1 power.
Yeah.
And then
maybe.
Boom.
And Master Mold 1 power too.
There you go.
And now we're onto something.
Yeah.
A nerf to buff it. But the next biggest change, Wave. So Wave is no longer increasing the cost of cards. It only reduces cards to 4, which is a huge, huge change.
Yeah.
But they gave it 2 power in compensation. But I think it kind of reduced the control aspect of Wave, but still allows it to be played in some sort of ramp lists or other sort of energy cheating lists.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think people were talking about playing this in C5. I think that might be fun. You just
I
play
tried
this. Oh, how was it?
It was about as good as C5 as always been.
Okay, well,
Like,
I mean, doing this into like a Doom or something doesn't seem bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely destroyed the control aspect of it where, oh, my opponent's playing bounce. I am snapping because I play Wave on 5 and I win turn 6. You know, like that's what I used to always win with Wave like that. You can't really do that anymore. So yeah, it's still good in ramp, but not great. I think ramp in general is kind of hurt by this. Just the fact that ramp could kind of limit its opponents. It was a really good tool, and now it's just an okay tool.
Yeah, I tried it in a ramp list, and I do think it still felt pretty good in ramp because you could just still ramp into your big cards, and you can cheat out a 6 cost on turn 4, which is like something you can't do with Electro. So it does help still in that regard, and it does also allow you to play like a 6 drop and some small cards on turn 6 if you wanted to. So you could play like a Doom plus a 2 drop in C5 if you wanted to.
That's a good point.
So it does allow that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit useful. But they did, in compensation for removing the control, bring back Sandman in a little bit by buffing it to a 5/4. So now if you want to control your balanced opponents, you could add Sandman to your deck and hope it's actually playable. Because at a 5/3 was a little bit tough to play because it was just too low power. But now at 5/4, maybe enough.
I think if they put Sandman back at 4/1, that would be scary. I think that's what he used to be, right? At 4/1. Back in the day.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of fun, but I Sandman feels so bad to play against. But it was pretty much just Wave. I was always like, why would I ever play Sandman when I could play Wave on 5 with a 2 drop or something? So maybe this makes Sandman more playable. I don't really think it will. Maybe at a 5/5 Sandman will be good. Have you seen any Sandman?
I played some Sandman and it felt pretty strong actually. I was winning cubes with it, so I think it's playable again, but it might have just been like a lot of times when the meta has big shifts like this, the second you play like a pretty solid deck, you can just win. So it really takes for the meta to settle a little bit before you can say how good something is. So I think Sandman, I think will be back currently in the current meta because they're with cost reduction being a thing again with Mobius gone. Sandman has some big value because a lot of people are going to be trying to play out a lot of cards with cost reduction. So I think there will be a meta between Sandman and cost reduction kind of balancing each other out. So I do think it's going to be a staple in the current meta.
Yeah, maybe I'll mess around with Sandman. Yeah, the only Sandman I've seen is in Spider-Man 2. I don't think I've seen a Sandman in like 3 months. So
yeah, you didn't play yesterday because it was all over.
Yeah, I did not play yesterday.
Yeah, it's back. I think the second I switched to Sandman, I had like 4 mirror matchups in a row. So
deck-based matchmaking is not a thing.
Not a thing. But the next change, I actually really like it. It seems kind of cool, but I was having a little bit of tough time finding the right deck for it. But we'll have to see. I tried Negasonic Teenage Warhead. They changed it from a 3/5 to a 3/2, but now it doesn't kill itself and it only affects enemies.
Oh, it doesn't kill itself? Cool. Oh, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't kill itself and doesn't kill you. So you can play cards on top of it and it doesn't kill it, or it doesn't activate it. So it's just only kills enemies. So it's gonna be pretty, I think, impactful because you can throw it into a Cosmo lane. You can throw it into a whatever that location's called that doesn't allow on reveals, and it like can still kill things. Like, so it's just going to be like a surprise kill things card, I think.
It's
But at
like
the same time, yeah, it's only 2 power.
it's a
So it's not
mini
really
Alioth light.
mini Alioth that allows on reveals to go off. So it's like
Oh,
definitely
true.
significantly worse than Alioth in that sense, but it's or not only allows on reveals, allows like the thing to reveal itself. So if they play an armor, the armor won't die.
This is pretty good in like a surfer deck now, maybe.
Yeah, I think Surfer. I tried it in C2, which seems like it is actually pretty good in
Oh,
C2.
that's a good idea. Yeah, might be good there.
Yeah,
Wow.
C2 seems a lot of fun right now with Elsa being a thing, because you can buff up
Yeah.
your Iron Man, your Cerebros.
Yeah. Wow, this is exciting. Elsa also boned me when I was playing C2 a fair amount. We're like, I can't play a card
Yeah.
here. So I think Elsa might be copium, but NTW might be solid.
Copium,
Yeah.
but it does seem fun.
Fun for sure. Yeah.
Fun at least. But yeah, and that's pretty much the only changes. The other ones were all kind of just like very technical changes that didn't really matter.
What is the Alioth
I think-
change? Oh, that's just a technical change?
It just allowed, like, so if a Hobgoblin were to switch sides, it no longer would kill that. So it's like only cards that are still on your side.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I read
that's like
that
the only
really
real
quickly
change.
and I was like, what does that even mean? But it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much just for Hobgoblin.
For the
and that's
goblins.
Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, and like Viper, I guess. I don't know. But like, I don't even know how that would work. Like, if you Viper a card
Yeah.
that you played also that turn. But yeah,
Sentry Viper
it doesn't
turn.
really matter.
Okay.
And Ant-Man just like was if it's a full location. So pretty much just for like the Space Throne. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It just counts as full. That's it for the changes, but the new card that came out at the same time as the changes. Like, it's so crazy that they do a patch. It doesn't always line up like this, I guess. I guess it always will line up like that. A patch will always be on Tuesday, and a new card always will be on Tuesday. So, patches are every 4 weeks. New cards are every week. But this week we had Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night is, I think, one of the better cards that have come out in a while. I don't know if you've had a chance to play it yet, but it's kind of insane because it's after you play an on reveal, it gains +2 power, but you can play like 10 on reveals after it if you play a bunch of like 1-drops and stuff. It's just like you could play so many and pull it all around, and you can bounce cards back with like Beast and Falcon and play more on reveals, or you could generate more on reveals with things like Snow Guard.
Yeah,
So
I haven't played it. I haven't seen it played either, but I think theoretically it looks very strong. It'll easily be a 3/7, sometimes a 3/9. So yeah,
It's regularly like a 3/13, 3/15 on my boards. It's like it gets up there.
Yeah,
It's
all I could think of
it's
is
insane.
your board might be clogged, and he can't. Like,
yeah,
jump
you have
there.
to play really smart about positioning and where you're gonna bounce it to. But
I like that.
like, you
though.
play 4 on reveals as a 3/11, right? Like, and you're almost always playing 4 on reveals in like a small on reveal list. Like, maybe not in C3. You're not doing that because you're not C3. Sorry, Surfer. I keep getting those two confused because they're 3 costs.
Yeah.
In Surfer, you're not going to be able to play quite as many, maybe up to 4, but it's like you're going to be playing mostly like 2 or 3 afterwards, but then buffing it with Surfer. But in something like Loki or Bounce, you're playing a lot of small cards. You're playing Deco, you're playing Snow Guard, you're playing Maria Hill. Those cards all can be bounced as well back to your hand, and then like Snow Guard generates 2 on reveal cards. So it's like, and then with Quinjet, those cards are discounted, so you get to play them for cheaper, so you can still play those cards out again.
Yeah.
It's just insane right now.
So this is just another Loki card, is what you're saying? Maybe it's in the best Loki
It's a
deck?
Loki card and a bounce card and a Surfer card, I think, mostly. But also, I've seen some people try it on discard, and I think it might be also good there. Like, there's discard is almost all on reveals as well.
Yeah.
And this can just bounce back and forth with that. And it's just good there. Like, if you're playing 3 or 4 cards, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah. No,
I
this
mean, you play 2 cards, it's worth it.
it
but-
seems solid. I think what's the win rate? Can we pull that up on Untap?
Yeah, the win rate is actually really insane. Let me pull that up. I had the decks. This is sorted by average cubes right now for 3,000 with an infinite. And Werewolf by Night is in the top 4 decks. Like, there's like 5 different Werewolf by Night decks up here. but I can just throw the actual card up here and show you the win rate. It's actually not that good overall,
Uh-huh.
but that's because it has 30% popularity. So it's just a 50% win rate because it's almost everyone was. It was so popular.
Yeah, it's a
The most
series.
popular deck.
I was gonna say it's a
What's
series 5, so a lot of people don't actually have access to it. A lot of the higher rank players probably will, but in lower ranks, you're probably not going to see it that much, right?
I think got picked up by a lot of people because when you look at game count, the problem is someone put out. I'm sure some content creator put this out or something, but there's like just a very low win rate Loki deck that, or not Loki, Werewolf deck that's been being played. It's just like a Thor 0 cost Jane Foster deck, and I think that's dragging the win rate of it down.
Yeah, that's just the
No,
monkey.
I don't know who put this out, but
it must have been
seems
Regis.
like
yeah, it was Regis.
it might be harder to play than it is, but it might be Regis.
Yeah, no, it is Miracle Wolf. Yeah, it's Regis's video. I just pulled it up. Yeah,
yeah, might be a little copium there to play this version, but
I think this deck is hard to play though. I wonder if this deck's actually good. Maybe I want to try it. You know, I think.
Yeah, try it out.
This has a lot of honor reels. You always Thor on turn 4, so you play Werewolf on 3. On turn 4, you Thor. On turn 5, you Jane, and he's just jumping around. And then you have Yellow Jacket, you have Mjolnir, you have Hit Monkey. Yeah, dude, he would bounce everywhere. That'd be fun. I might mess around with this.
Yeah, but if you look at the actual this is just by the number of games that have been played. Like the ones that actually end up being good are like Loki, and this is just by games played. All decks, not even Werewolf decks, but if we look at just Werewolf decks, like the next couple, like Loki one this is Lamby's list, and it's really, really strong. Just a bounce Loki Werewolf, really good. And then also just a regular Loki list. I think this might be my list that I was playing, and it's also just
that's a nice cube win rate you got there.
Yeah.
0.05.
Not too bad, but not all my games.
And better than the next guy.
Then,
yeah.
Next one is a similar one to Lamby's list that's really strong, and then just a classic Surfer list that's really strong. So there's just a lot. I think Bounce was also, if you sort by cube win rate, Bounce was up here. From what I saw, just a regular Bounce non-Loki list, maybe somewhere. I looked at this before, but maybe not. Also Hawk, pretty good. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he looks very solid. I'm excited. I'm after this pod recording, I'm gonna stream. You know, I'm gonna be playing Werewolf all day.
That'll be exciting to see. I'll stop by for sure. Check it out.
I hope so.
Werewolf. I said on my stream, I think it's a definite, like, when people always come and ask, is it worth it? I think this is one of the ones that's easy to say. I think it's worth it in the sense that I think it's strong in some certain lists that, like, if you want to pick up the card, you won't regret picking it up, I think.
Until they nerf it in 2 weeks.
Until they nerf it in 2 weeks, and then that's just another.
And then no
problem.
refunds.
No refunds.
Yeah.
But have you seen the new card that's coming out next week?
Miss Marvel. A 4/5 ongoing adjacent locations where you have unique cost cards have +5 power. This is going to be wild, dude. This is going to be insane.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah. Having this into a Fantastic, into Marvel, into a Claw, into Onslaught. Yeah. Ugh, gross.
This is a mini Doctor, like, not mini Doctor Doom. It's a Doctor Doom for 4. Yeah. That's how crazy this is.
Assuming you meet the condition, yeah.
The condition is just have unique cost cards. Like, you don't even have to put cards in those adjacent locations. Like,
that's my question. Do you know that? Do you have to have a card in those locations in order for this to be active?
I'm like 99% sure that
where you have unique cost cards, you technically do not have cards in those locations. So
right, but technically they're also unique costs because there's
like none.
A null set is still unique, I guess.
Is it? That's my question. That could really change how good this card is.
I mean, you could always just put any one card there if you need a card, I feel like.
I think it's Echo time.
Echo? You think you'll need Echo against this?
To me, if you don't need a card in left and right, this deck just wins by going Fantastic, Marvel, and then just playing Onslaught. Even just that is a ton of power. Well, that's 14 and left and right and a ton mid as well. Or just doing Fantastic, Miss Marvel, Claw, Onslaught.
Well, how is that any better than just playing like Tribunal stuff, right?
I guess it's not necessarily better, but it seems a lot easier to pull off.
Yeah, because
Also,
you
if
need
you,
less of the pieces.
yeah, or like if you get Iron Man instead of like Claw, like that's totally fine. You'll just win mid in a different lane or something. Like it's it just seems very brain dead to me, like a Shuri deck where, oh, I got Shuri,
Yeah,
Red Skull, Taskmaster. It's like, oh, I got Miss Marvel, Claw, Onslaught. Like maybe it's not going to be as good as I'm thinking. Maybe your opponent can see it coming a mile away and they just stack not the
yeah.
Claw lane or something. But Echo
It'll
would
also
also ruin it.
be, yeah, since it's adjacent locations, it's gonna be like obviously best in the middle. So it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of limiting that you have to kind of play it in the middle.
So Negasonic mid.
Yeah, like the second you see this come down, you kind of know what it limits it for sure. And then you
Yeah.
could also, if you're playing any sort of disruption, like any sort of cards that like you play like debris on them or something, and then they had a one cost on the one of the sides, it like deactivates it. It's just
Yeah.
like something like that could have some problems.
That's true. Yeah, debris or something. Like it's definitely going to be affected by clutter decks, or Echo could easily ruin it, or Negasonic or Eliath, I guess. So
Yeah. I think it'll be strong though. I when I first saw this card, I was like, how is this gonna be released as is? And it seems like they're gonna release it as is, according to the latest data mines. So we'll have to see
yeah,
how strong it actually ends up being. But Doctor Doom, good card. I can't imagine this card can't be good.
is this the season pass card?
This is the season pass card, so this is going to be accessible to everybody pretty much, like
And
for a reasonable price.
and the movies coming out, the Marvels or whatever.
Yeah,
Right?
the Marvels. Yeah, I think
So
that's what this whole release and the whole season is around.
and they're saying they want things around the MCU, the timing of it. They want the card to be really strong.
Yeah,
So
hey, that is
if
what
I'm
they've been saying.
if I'm putting this together, this might be really good. We'll see.
I do think this whole season is going to be cool, but we'll talk about that in future episodes of the pod for sure.
Yeah, it's seeming like it's going to be an impactful card. And if you are spending money on this game, the most valuable thing to get is the season pass. So you will, I feel like most people will end up with this card, and it does seem good. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
Loki level good.
Yeah, I don't think it's Elsa or Loki level good, but
Yeah.
I think it'll be up there for sure.
It's
Like those two cards were absolutely bonkers, so I think
Yeah.
it's rightfully so not that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both those cards got adjusted within their seasons, pretty much. Like,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, I think we have a lot to look forward to. I think just something else that I wanted to touch on was just how insane Lamby has been. He climbed up the leaderboard almost to rank 1, which is kind of crazy. Because I'm down at like 19 or something right now.
Oh, dude,
I just
I,
played one game and dropped a few points. But
I've tumbled.
I tumbled a little bit. Yeah, I was
Am I
top
still
10
on there?
most
Can
of the season.
you sort to NA?
Yeah.
Scroll
what's your
down.
name right now?
I'm at like 9,000 points. My name is Meat Stick Man.
Meat Stick Man.
Am I even on there anymore? No, I'm at the top 50
should
maybe.
be. Unless you fell below 9,000. Oh, there you are.
Oh, 60.
Number 60.
Oh, almost 69. Okay, yeah, I'm almost where I want to be.
Yeah, you're up there. You're up there.
Okay, anyway, back to Lamby. Sorry, I needed
back to Lamby, but or just I just want to talk about it in general. It's just so insane. But it does talk. It speaks to like I looked at just like the decks he's playing, and it's just like how strong I think Loki is in general. Like that's most of the top 10 players I think have been playing Loki, and it's just like I saw Glenn speak on it a little bit, and he said that Loki is like a top 5 deck. It's not even like a top 1, 2, or 3 deck a lot of times. Like it just even among the top players, but it does seem like in the top like 20 players, the top 25 players, that like it is by far the strongest deck. So it's like at the very, very top, it's one of those decks that it just rewards, I think, from the matchup diversity that's able to be good against. So it's just like really strong ladder deck that you can just play against almost any deck and have a good fighting chance against, and then just have a good positive win rate.
There's no
So it's
bad
just one of
matchups,
those-
right?
Yeah, there's like no bad matchups because you just take their deck and now you're them. So, and for cheaper. So it's just like there's no way to make it a bad matchup a lot of times, other than the one card Mobius was like the best way to do it. But then everyone was running Rogue to just steal the Mobius. So it just didn't matter as much. So it's one of those things that now Mobius is gone, Loki is back, people put Quinjet back in the deck, making it even stronger. I think it's going to be a force until they touch it again in the future upcoming OTAs maybe, but it's going to be insane. And it's one of those things that it doesn't necessarily impact the entire ladder, so they don't have a lot of incentive to touch it, but like if you play it enough, it's going to make you climb. Everyone who says I switched to Loki started climbing again. Lamby has just shown he's an insane player, climbing like all the way up to almost number 1 with almost exclusively Loki. Has been actually insane.
Yeah, I think anytime I play someone in like top 50, it's Loki, pretty much.
Yep.
Like I think what's Tanjo been playing?
Loki only.
Yeah,
only
sure,
Loki.
I'm pretty sure just been
I play
Loki.
Tanjo every day.
Yeah.
Only Loki.
Yeah. I haven't pieced together his entire deck, but I think I just see Loki and like 2 other cards. That's all he plays.
Yeah. Tanjo, number 1, he had been number 1 by like 1,000 points over the second place person. Tanjo fell a little bit. He was at like 10,750. But I think now everyone else is just playing Loki. Like Lamby playing Loki. I think Derek is playing Loki. EMA playing Loki. Like all the people I play against a lot. Young Wave actually is one person who doesn't play that much Loki. And Visible Man, aka Cleanup, does not play Loki that much. I think those are 2 people that are able to climb without Loki. But I have seen like Young Wave switch to some Loki occasionally and play it.
I should just play a Loki deck.
Just play Loki. But it sucks that that's the one main deck that everyone like feels like they have to go back to climb, because that's just like you want to be able to play some of these other decks that are good and climb. But that's just the current meta right now is just most consistent.
When you're experimenting with decks with fresh new cooks, do you do it on ladder or do you do it on Conquest?
I do it on ladder because I feel like Conquest doesn't represent the ladder. Because it's like, I think decks are very meta dependent, especially in a game like Marvel Snap where tech cards are very important. So if you're playing against just a different meta, different things are going to be good.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. Do you experiment on Conquest?
No, but I've considered it. I'm like, oh, do I want to care about my rank a lot and try and push high? But I'm like, if I push super high with the Loki deck and then I want to experiment with the new card and my cooks don't go well, because I was like top 100 global. And then I think I lost like 200 snap points in one day because I was experimenting with like the OTA changes or something. So now am I even top 200? I don't even know if
you might have fallen out of top 200 just barely, but
I think I'm like 225, or 213.
Yeah, 213, okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't care too much about my rank when I'm experimenting, because I just like I want to just play and figure out what's good, and then I'll worry about climbing back up later. That's pretty much how my entire like roller coaster of rank goes. It's like I climb with Loki, and then I experiment, and then I climb with Loki, and then I experiment, and it's just like constant. that is my trend. Like I like to experiment and have fun and try. There are certain things where I'll go up when I'm experimenting, and then I play those a little bit more. But it's generally like come back to Loki to climb.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I guess what else have you been playing recently? Just Spider-Man 2? I just wanted to talk on that a little bit. I know Halloween just happened. I just played some spooky games, but what have you been up to?
I have also been playing spooky games, but mostly Spider-Man 2, which is not a spooky game. It's just a game I was very excited for that I wanted to beat. Yesterday during Halloween, I did play a scary game as well. I'm opening my Steam because I forget the name of it. But I recently, I played through Dead Space. I played through Resident Evil and all that stuff. Yesterday, I played... Where is it? View my profile. I'm looking at my Steam profile. Lethal Company. Have you heard of it?
I've never heard of that.
Lethal Company just came out. It's like $10 on Steam. It's kind of like
10 out of 10 on Steam.
It's kind of like
5 stars.
It's Phasmophobia, essentially, I think.
Oh, I love Phasmophobia.
But it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more janky. It's cheaper. It looks very indie. But you go in, you have to make money to survive, and you have to face all these like alien sort of creature things. You go to a planet, the loot randomly spawns, you kind of got to pick it up. Someone kind of navigates you and tells you like there's something in that room, like don't go in there, or like go fast or something like that, or they got to deactivate a turret and you got to run in and grab it and run. It's fun. It's really fun. If you have friends,
it says good if you have friends.
Yeah, if you don't have friends, I guess you could play with randoms. It might be hard, but I was just playing with my fiance, and it was a really good time. And
it says best with 3 friends, so
yeah, not incredibly scary.
Not everything has to be.
Yeah, but it's still considered a kind of a horror, I guess. It is scary. You do get like eaten by crazy monster things. So
someone posted it's the average Amazon worker experience.
Yeah, because you have to run into a scary place and like pick up items. It's it's definitely worth $10. I got like at least I think like 8 hours of gameplay out of it.
Not scary, but still really fun. I think I'll try it out though. That sounds cool. Maybe co-op stream sometime. Maybe we could try that.
We could try and play it. We probably need 2 more people. Also,
Cozy's a streamer now, but does he do variety? Never. I don't know.
Hey, he might try it. I think with this game, we're probably talking about it too much at this point. No one cares. But you use walkie-talkies to talk. You're not supposed to use Discord. I cheated and used Discord the whole time.
Because you're supposed to. Yeah, I actually might have seen someone playing this then on Twitch. Because I saw the walkie-talkie thing. People were like, you have to be like, and if you die, you can't talk to the people anymore or something.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah.
It's a fun game though,
but not that scary. You know what was scary? The Visage. I played Visage on stream. Have you seen this clip of me? Or maybe you were there live. It was insane.
Let's see.
I don't know. You want to watch the clip?
Yeah, let's watch it.
You can hear me. I don't know if me talking. And now we're back here.
Don't hear it.
I know where we are.
Oh shit.
I was terrified. So for anyone listening to the pod, I saw a very scary thing in a video game called Visage. My face was actual genuine terror. I like, it's just, I don't know about anyone else, but it's just the sound. You can't really hear it in the clip, but it's just like in the game itself, there's like spatial sound. So it's like you can kind of hear where things are. And I heard a thing right behind me. So you see me like flip around real fast. And there's like in the game, you can see like a little shadow flicker. And I'm just like, oh, there's a thing right here. And then all of a sudden it stabs me. And I'm just like, oh, I'm dead. But it's just like, it's very spooky because it's like jump scary.
I want to get a photo of this face right here.
Everyone's saying I should make it a new emote.
You should.
My face is actual screaming. But yeah, I also want to try a game called Don't Scream, but I hear it's bad for streaming because the whole point of the game is to not make noise. So if you are talking to chat, that counts as making noise. So you have to like really whisper, and you can accidentally set it off if you talk too loud.
Yeah, that's probably bad content, but it's probably fun.
Yeah, it would be cool. But yeah.
Yeah,
that's it for the pod this week. Did you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's we covered plenty. There was a lot, but we went through it quite fast. You know, a lot of people saying these are too long. And
too long, but we cut it back for them.
Yeah, a little more concise here, a little bit less rambling, except for the other games portion, but I guess we could just cut that out if you want.
Oh no, we'll leave it in.
Yeah.
I think people actually enjoy it because I feel like the only people who make it that far into the podcast are the people who are still here, you know, the people who are actually already subscribed. But if you're not, feel free, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually the ones who care more about this stuff anyway to make it to the end, you know?
Yeah. No, you're right. We'll leave it in there, maybe.
All right. Well,
all right.
Thanks everyone for listening and watching.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.